Hey guys, welcome to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with a Misfortune updated complete guide, and I haven't really touched Misfortune ever since patch 4.4, but now in patch 4.4 C and D, I've been playing a lot of Misfortune. Of course, we're still on the Korean server, and I still don't really have my recording equipment, so we're still using the AirPods to record, because after the last video, we kind of figured out that the AirPods audio was a little bit better than the computer mic, so we're going to be going with that. So hopefully it doesn't affect the clarity of the audio too much. But anyways, let's just hop straight into talking about the loadout. Or rather, before we do that, don't forget to check out the basic guide I did on Misfortune for her skills, leveling order, tips and tricks, as well as some combos. But now let's jump into the build. So the first item we're going to go for is going to be the Gluttonous Greaves. Of course, we want to get that early AD and Omnivamp as with all the other ADCs. You do have an option to actually go for the Lethality boots as well, the Boots of Dynamism, but personally I think Armor Pen is going to fall off pretty quickly, and I do think the Omnivamp is a lot more useful, especially because you don't really have a lot of Omnivamp or Physical Vamp in the build until you get to later on. So first item we're going to go for is going to be Duskblade. So personally, I've tried a lot of different MF builds, like full lethality, full crit, like starting off with the Bloodthirst, etc. And I found that going for like half lethality and half crit is going to work out the best. And you want to start off with Duskblade because it's pretty much the item that's going to give you the most armor pen and the most AD, as well as of course giving you the extra passive. Just to get in as much damage as you can. So the passive actually works on your Q. So if you double up and the bounce bounces onto an enemy champion, it's actually going to prompt the passive of Duskblade, and it's going to basically do at least half the health of the enemy when you combine the double up damage with Misfortune's passive damage and with the Duskblade passive damage. So it's going to do at least half the health of an enemy. It's going to be a lot. And then we go for Collector next. So Collector, the main goal of this item is, of course, it gives you the AD and the crit. But the main goal is to, of course, give you the combination of the armor pen and the crit. So as you know, we're starting off with some lethality, which is really strong in the earlier stages of the game, which is why we're going for 2 lethality items at the beginning. But at the same time, we want to go into crit later on. So getting the Collector is really crucial because it gives you a little bit of crit as well to start your crit kind of stacking, and the passive is actually pretty useful in MF as well, because with the ulti you can actually sometimes get someone to below the threshold and actually get kills from the Collector. Now for your third item, you have to go for Sorrel's Grudge. You can't really go for Maul Reminder or any other kind of armor penetration item, because you do need the Sorrel's Grudge to get that slowdown and allow the enemies to get caught in your ult. So you have to build this item, third item in the lanes. You can actually go for it earlier, but in this particular build, I think that getting the two early lethality items is going to be more crucial, and then you go for Sorrel's third. And for the last 2 items, you want to then start going into crit. So personally, I like to go for Bloodthirster first, because the utility of having the Omnivamp is more useful than the damage of IE, in my opinion. So you go for Bloodthirster, which is going to give you the AD, the Vamp, of course, and also the additional stats when you're high on health. And we finally top it off with an IE, which is going to boost your crit damage, and it's going to put you to a total of 75% crit. Of course, with the Collector, not really 100%, but it's still it's still kind of good enough. Or you can technically sell your Duskblade when you get to late game and replace it with a crit item, like for example, Essence Reaver, for instance, or something like that. So for the runes, you want to go for First Strike, because of course First Strike is going to get you a lot of extra damage in combination with your passive, with your Duskblade, and all that kind of damage sources. So you want to go for the First Strike. It's going to work on your ulti as well. If someone CCs and you can instantly ult, it's going to do a lot of extra damage. Of course, you're going to go for Brutal, being an ADC who auto attacks a lot, and we're going to take the Giant Slayer, pretty much because it's the rune that is going to give you the most damage in this slot. Bloodline for the Omnivamp. MF doesn't really need attack speed, because she's more about attack damage and just landing her spells, not so much about auto attacking too much. And then Bone Plating for some extra safety in lane, as well as in the later stages of the game. And for the spells, we want to go for Flash as well as Exhaust. You can technically go for Ghost as well to run away, because sometimes you don't really want to be in close range to exhaust. But I personally find Exhaust to be useful, because when someone jumps on me, I can instantly just exhaust them and try to run away. Of course, you can also just take Ghost for just extra mobility to run away as well, so that works as well. But with all that out of the way, let's jump into talking about our gameplay itself. Okay, so now hopping straight into the gameplay. Now, of course, as usual, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And any questions, queries, or remarks, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I'll be sure to address them. So in my opinion, the most important thing about when you play Misfortune is you kind of want a team that has some sort of big kind of AoE CC to help you land your ult a little bit more easily. Now, of course, you can still play MF in games where you don't have these kind of things. That's kind of where Seralda's Grudge comes in with a slow, and of course, you do have those big like Dragon or Baron team fights where the enemy team is grouped up and you can still get off a pretty good ultimate. However, it's a lot easier if you have teammates to help you out, and when they land their CC, you can simply just follow up on the CC with your ulti and basically just land a lot of free and easy damage that way. So in this particular match, we actually have a really, really beautiful team for playing MF. We have a Seraphine as a support, of course, if she lands her double E or her ulti. It's a really free ult for us. We have, of course, a Zyra, who if she lands her ult or again her E, also very free and easy ulti for us. We also have a Vi who has a lot of CC, and we have a Cannon as well, so really, really pretty much a perfect match to play MF in, because it's pretty much like anyone on our team lands some kind of CC, it's just a relatively free ult. But what I've learned from playing a lot of MF in recent times is basically that it's not really all about landing your ulti. I used to kind of feel that MF was a lot about landing your ulti, but nowadays I kind of realize there's a lot of matches that, like, for the first 15 minutes of the match, I don't land any good ultis at all, but I still get a lot of value from MF, because just basically knowing how to play MF properly with her passive, like basically attacking unique targets and proccing her passive, or landing really good double ups, you can just do a lot of damage without even needing to ult, which is kind of a really important skill on MF, which is to land your Qs. You always have to be looking at angles to either bounce off two enemies, which is the most ideal, or bounce from a minion to an enemy, like both in lane and like in team fights and stuff. Of course, in lanes it's very important, like what I just did here. You can see we chunked out the Caitlyn to really, really low HP, and especially in this particular lane, right, against the Caitlyn Lux, who's meant to be very, very aggressive lane that can easily kill us, but we've chunked them out so much with our Qs that they are both like at 1 HP and they both have to back, and this gives us a lot of lane pressure in a lane that we technically shouldn't really even be winning, of course, because they have positioned pretty badly behind minions, which allowed me to land quite a couple of Qs onto them, especially because Caitlyn Q is charging her Q behind the minion, which pretty much makes it such that I don't really even need a lot of effort to aim my Q to bounce onto her. But anyways, here we both bot lanes have reset and we're now back into the lane. So you can see we're having some fancy footwork, just dodging all of Lux's spells. And we land a really nice Q with the first strike, and we are able to get Caitlyn to half HP and also take a significant chunk of health from Lux, and pretty much just off of one trade, we've pretty much gotten a lot of pressure in lane right here, and they are forced to kind of just run away. Zyra actually comes in for the roam, and I try to follow up with the ulti. Caitlyn is now left at 1 HP, and Lux is also left at 1 HP, and they both kind of have to recall and back, which then allows me and Seraphine to, of course, push down this tower. Actually, Lux decides to stay, so she's kind of just stuck on the tower now at like 1/3 HP, because she did get the honey fruit. And we are just trying to quickly shove in the wave, because Vi is pinging that she's coming for a dive. So we're trying to shove in quickly. And Lux actually managed to back in this time. So Vi decides to go for Caitlyn instead. Caitlyn actually flashes under her tower, gets ulted by Seraphine. We land a huge auto on her, and Vi is eventually able to finish off the kill, which does give us the assist. However, she has nowhere to run, and Ari and Mundo both decided to roam and get the kill onto the Vi. So overall, it's a 1-for-1 trade. But Caitlyn did miss out on all of the minions because we did crash the wave into the tower, so she does lose out on a lot of gold and XP here. So this puts us at a pretty significant advantage in the lane. And we're also picking up items a lot more quickly. We of course have our boots completed. We now have the serrated dirk as well, so we are going to be able to pack quite a punch in these future fights in lane. So here they have a slow push wave, and we don't really want that, because Caitlyn can easily shove the wave and put us back under our tower. So we don't want that. So we're trying to quickly attack the minions, not just last hitting, but trying to attack the minions to kill them quickly so we don't get shoved in under the tower. And we are able to do that because Lux has roamed to mid. So of course we ping that she's missing, and ping mid that she's on the way. And now because Lux is not around in the lane, where Caitlyn is stuck in a 1v2 against me and Seraphine. So this allows me and Seraphine to push in the lane and see if we can get off some tower damage. Lux is actually now getting chased by our Vi back into the lane, and Caitlyn is now just auto-attacking us, and it just breaks into a really, really messy fight. Vi is now behind the tower, it barely survives the Caitlyn. Now, I'm not quite sure what Vi is really doing here, but thankfully she does manage to survive, and she is able to just walk away. So here now back to the lane, landing a huge Q once again onto the Caitlyn. Basically, a bounce is going to be about 1/3 HP here. So here, Ahri is trying to come on the roam. Zyra is very closely behind, and Zyra is able to finish off the Caitlyn as well as the Lux, and then ignites Ahri for the triple kill. I believe that was, or actually that wasn't even ignite. I think that was one of her plans. So Zyra able to pick up a random triple kill right here. So now she's 4-0, so she's super fed. Meanwhile, the dragon is being started up by Vi, so I'm just going to quickly come over to help her out, because Mundo, who's the enemy jungler, is actually coming over. So we are able to secure the dragon and get out. Of course, now at this point, we are really fed despite not having any kills. You can see that in terms of gold, we have as much gold as our 4-0 Zyra. So she has 4 kills worth of gold, and we have no kills at all. But just because we've been getting all of the CS as well as landing our Qs onto the enemy bot lane when we have our first strike, we're actually able to get a lot of gold despite not even getting any kills. So here, once again, we're back to playing the game of dodging all of the enemy skill shots. We dodged the Caitlyn E, we dodged the Lux Q, we dodged the Lux E as well. And now we're just going to continue what we've been doing, which is basically to farm and at the same time try to land some poke onto the 2 enemy laners. So once again, making sure to dodge. Apparently, Seraphine has been getting hit by everything. So from 100 HP, she's now at like less than 50% HP, whereas we're still at full health because we've sidestepped everything pretty much at this point. And now the Lux is actually stepping up and trying to look for a route. But obviously, we know that, so we're not going to give her an opportunity to do that. We're just gonna, step away from everything. She lands a spell, but I'm able to actually land a Q onto the Caitlyn, and Seraphine hits the ulti. I'm able to follow up with my ulti, but unfortunately, Caitlyn is actually able to escape. And Lux misses the Q, but I kind of just face tank the ulti to just try to get off more damage. Turns out to not be such a good idea because I'm now taking a ton of damage. And here, Caitlyn ult is able to finish off the Seraphine. Of course, I'm pretty low as well, so I can't really block for her. If not, I'm going to die instead. So instead, I'm just going to walk away. I was initially going to back, but I decided to just stay and just clear the minions under the tower instead. I control ward here, but although we can see 2 people in the top lanes, it's very unlikely that anyone comes here, which is the main reason why I'm staying, because Mundo and Warwick are both at top, and I believe that Ahri's on a reset. So here I'm actually able to bounce onto the Lux and just straight up one-shot her for sticking around. And here Caitlyn is able to land a combo on me, but Seraphine is already back in lane, so she gives me the shield, and I'm going to let her and Vi finish off the job on the super duper overextended Caitlyn. So Caitlyn obviously overextending a lot to try to get some damage or even try to kill me, but obviously we have our team here to punish her, so we are able to bait her successfully into sticking around long enough for her to get punished, and as a result we are able to pick up yet another, actually we don't even pick up the assist, but here Warwick for some reason is here trying to fight 1v3, and we're able to kill him and get the shutdown because he was 3-0. We're also able to get the tower and the wave, and things are just looking really good for us at the moment. We're 2-0-4 with the Duskblade completed. We're looking to complete the Collector. We're actually pretty close, I believe. Yeah, we do have less than 900 gold to go for the Collector, so we're just looking for that little bit more gold to complete the Collector. And again, we're at the same amount of gold as the Zyra, who's now 5-1. So here Mundo is pushing in the top wave, and Kennen is not around. So here I just here to collect the top wave, and I get a little bit of free damage onto the Mundo. Of course, we can't kill Mundo. He's way too tanky for us to kill. So all we can really do is just get in some free damage on him. He's probably going to kill us faster than we can kill him, because he's just way too tanky. Now that we've got enough gold for the Collector, we're just going to recall and pick that up real quick. So now we have the Collector, double lethality items in the pocket. Of course, this is pretty much going to make it really easy for us to kind of one-shot Ahri, Caitlyn, and Lux. But of course, against Warwick and Mundo, lethality is not going to be very effective since they are going to be building some armor, most likely. Here, Lux is 1 HP. I'm just going to flash forward and pick up the free kill with the auto attack. And Caitlyn's now running away at 1 HP. I'm just going to focus down the tower, which we are able to get. And in the meantime, Warwick is actually split pushing, so Kennen has to go over to stop him. My team is actually pinging to push mid. I initially was going to rotate bot to get CS, but since my team is pushing mid, I'm going to just join them. And here I try to follow up the Zyra out with my ult, but of course Mundo has his passive to immune CC, so it doesn't really quite work out in the sense that we don't get enough damage to finish the kill onto Mundo. and we are able to let another bounce onto the Caitlyn with our Q. And you can see that with one bounce, Caitlyn is instantly chunked to like half health just because of our Dustblade passive. And here, we're trying to help our team against the Warwick, or help our Seraphine against the Warwick. And we're able to do a lot of damage to Warwick, but because he had Honey Fruit and Flash, he's able to actually get out without us being able to finish him off. The Warwick getting really fed, he's 5-1 as a Warwick top who's building Triforce first item. So now we're gonna back, and I'm actually getting the armor penetration item, the Last Whisper. Of course, as I mentioned, it's gonna be very helpful against both Warwick and Mundo. And of course, as I mentioned, in the runes we actually have the Giant Slayer, which Mundo is building 2 health items at the very beginning of the game. So he's gonna be taking the full effect of the rune that we took. So speaking of which, he's now in an encounter with us. We're just auto-attacking. You can see that we're doing a lot more damage to him now. We're instantly able to chunk him to like half HP with our initial burst. But of course, we don't have the sustained damage to really kill him because we're MF and we don't really do a lot of DPS, but we do a lot more burst at the beginning when we have our passive and our Q. So we're just going to chunk him a little bit, get a little bit of free first strike gold, and we're just going to back off. We don't want to be too greedy about it. So here the jungle is up, so of course we want to maintain our farm, so we're going to quickly farm the jungle. At this point in the game, we have the most gold in the game. Of course, Mundo is kind of close behind. You can see Mundo has 0 kills, 0 deaths, and he's almost the same goal as us. So you can see that he's been farming really, really well as well, judging just based on his KDA and his gold. So here I'm just going to quickly go for the red buff. Seems like Vi is completely uninterested because I pinged for assistance on the buff, and Vi is making no move towards the buff whatsoever. So I'm just going to take the buff for myself and then rotate mid to try to clear up the lane. And then I was gonna recall, but I realized that I need like about 200-300 gold more to get my Swirler's Grudge. So I'm gonna instead just stick around and try to get some a little bit more gold. So my team in the meantime is chasing down Warwick. Initially I was just going for the minions, but I realized that Warwick is not getting away really quickly, so I'm just gonna quickly rotate to try to get an assist. But I walk over and basically end up getting the kill instead, which is kind of a bit of a KS, but it's fine because I kind of need the item. And the full-on fight starts to break out here. I get slowed, so I'm going to have to quickly flash because I'm going to get caught if I don't. And Kennen goes in with the ulti, I go in with my ulti as well, Seraphine goes in with the ulti as well. But somehow, the enemy team doesn't take too much damage from the triple AoE ultis. And they're all like stuck in really low, like 1 HP. But unfortunately, they all kind of live on 1 HP and all of us end up dying. Except the Ahri, who I was able to kill with my dying breath. So unfortunately, only Vi and Zyra left alive. Zyra is kind of just, I don't know what to describe it as, but I guess she's kind of just split pushing mid while a 4v4 is breaking out at the top side of the map. Vi, for some reason, decides to go in 1v2 against the bot lane and just instantly gets popped by the bot lane and just dies. Zyra then gets run down by Warwick and our team just gets aced, which is a pretty horrible situation with Baron alive. So here, obviously, the most logical thing for the enemy team to do is they're probably just going to go for Baron because the whole my whole team is dead / respawning. And honestly, there's not very much I can do about it because my jungle is still dead for like 10 seconds and she's not going to be able to get there. Kennen doesn't get the vision, so I'm going to do the only thing I can to try to salvage the situation, which is to dodge skill shots and then toss a random ulti over the wall. In the previous game, I did randomly steal Baron with an MF ulti because the jungler didn't smite properly. So you know, there's like always a 5% chance that could happen. So it doesn't happen, of course, kind of expected. So we're just going to recall and just restore our health and just walk back out. Now a fight's kind of breaking out in the mid lane where the enemy team is trying to use the Baron buff to push. So here, you know, Zyra gets a huge ulti. I'm able to get a lot of damage onto Lux. We're able to pretty much just one-shot the Lux here, and you can see the damage I'm getting in on the Mundo with the armor pen and with the Giant Slayer rune. He's taking a lot of damage from us. Anti-heal is now put on onto him from the Zyra. Seraphine gets charmed by Ahri and is pulled towards them, but doesn't actually end up dying. And here I'm just trying to auto-attack Mundo still. Ahri goes in with the ulti, but I'm able to stand behind the minion to avoid getting charmed, and Zyra is able to finish off the kill onto the overzealous Ahri. And next up, of course, Mundo is still around, but he is, again, still too tanky to kind of kill, so he's just going to be kind of just there. And here, once again, the red buff is up, so I'm just going to quickly go for the red buff. And I'm running out of mana at this point, because Misfortune obviously is very heavy mana user, and we don't have any mana mune or Essence Reaver in our build. So instead, we're going to have no choice but to recall for mana instead, which is not very ideal. But yeah, obviously Misfortune did get a little bit of a mana buff in the latest patch, which of course does help the situation, but of course it's not really enough to solve her mana issues. Her mana issues arguably shouldn't be solved because she's kind of spell reliant, so if she has unlimited mana, it's not exactly very balanced either. So enemy team goes for the dragon, gets the Infernal Dragon because we are there way too slow, and by we I mean my team. And here, a fight kind of breaks out. They're chasing into our jungle. Vi gets a huge ult, and I'm able to get an ult off across the Warwick and the Mundo. So Warwick basically gets one shot. We nearly one shot the Caitlyn. Caitlyn dies as well. Lux is the next to go down, and basically, they basically got the dragon, but they all ended up dying for it. So we traded 1 for 3. Only Mundo and Arya left alive. And no objectives are up though, so the only thing we can really do with this, with these kills, are of course to get a push on. So here, Mundo gets rooted. You can see that he's taking a lot of damage, and he actually nearly dies from my double up. He's forced to pop the ulti to survive, and speaking of pop, I end up popping Ahri's crown, so Ahri is now vulnerable. We get the mid lane inhibitor, and we're going to rotate to bot lane to try to go for that. We have a wave, and we're trying to focus down the bot lane inhib. Unfortunately, I get hit by the charm, but I instantly QSS to prevent any follow-up damage, and I'm still basically at 100 HP, 100% HP, except for, of course, the charm damage. And I was thinking of doing some counter jungling, but since the entire enemy team was respawning, I decided to recall instead, because it's a little bit too risky to stick around the enemy jungle with everyone coming out of their base. So now I reach back, I'm able to pick up my Bloodthirster, which of course is a pretty huge purchase, a lot of AD, and of course, physical vamp really good as well. The Baron, I believe it's going to be spawning in 20 seconds, so we are trying to push out mid lane to get some mid lane priority and then rotate over to the Baron itself. And here Caitlyn is getting caught by Vi. She pops the stasis, but she's not getting out. Here I pop the E into ulti to ensure that she's basically dead, which is a very crucial pick because obviously she is the bulk of the enemy team's DPS. So we're able to get rid of her. And this, in theory, should give us a free/major advantage on the Baron. Of course, one of the main issues here is the fact that Mundo is super duper tanky, and he's the jungler, so he can simply just walk in to the pit and try to contest the Baron. So here what I'm doing, you can see I've stopped hitting the Baron, I'm instead hitting the Mundo and the Lux, because I'm trying to get damage onto them. Warwick jumps into the pit, and I'm focusing the Warwick instead of the Baron. I get the kill onto Warwick, I'm going for Ahri. Ahri goes down. Unfortunately, Ahri was able to ult into the pit and steal the Baron. And this basically means that we don't get the Baron. However, we did get 4 kills. So only Dr. Mundo is left alive on the enemy team. And on my team, 4 people are still left alive. So I'm pinging to end the game, pinging onto the Nexus. Mundo trying his best to defend. And Caitlyn now just respawns, but I'm nearly able to straight up just one-shot her because I'm nearly full build. And we're quickly going to clear the minions, and instead of focusing the enemy champions like my teammates are, I'm obviously going to just focus the base and just end the game right here. So with that, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I'm going to leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you so much for watching the video, and goodbye.